Ooh, I like this. Little women's hoops. And the Iowa women's team, of course, you're talking about Iowa. You're talking about Caitlin Clark. So they're getting ready for their tournament. What do you see happening there?
It all depends on how well Caitlin Clark plays. And we all know how incredible she is. So this team is going to go as far as Caitlin's able to take them. She struggled shooting big time in the conference tournament. She was really bad from beyond the arc. Now, she came up huge in big moments, and that's, what she does. That's why she's such a special player, because even when she's not shooting the ball great from deep, she's still able to come up with a couple big buckets, some strong plays on the defensive end, a couple steals in that championship game. So honestly, I mean, I was going to be a 1 seed, plus 600 to win the whole thing. I don't see it happening this year. I think maybe ceiling is a Final Four team for this Iowa group. But again, it's only as far as Caitlin Clark can take them, because they do have some scoring, but nothing that's going to overwhelm a team like an LSU. South Carolina is going to run away with this tournament. They're going to finish the season undefeated. I would bet them even at minus 120 to win the entire thing. But with Caitlin Clark out there, anything can happen if she can get hot. I would love for them to get back to the title game. I just am not sure I see it happening with this roster that they have. But for Iowa women's hoops, like, what Caitlin Clark has done for that program is unbelievable. I mean, Iowa just signed a 5-star prospect, just committed to Iowa, Addie Deal from California. Iowa doesn't get 5-star girls from California. That's all because of Caitlin Clark and what she's done for that program. So she's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, me having gone to Iowa, I will be keeping an eye closely on them, as well, I'm sure, the rest of the country, who keeps close eye on Caitlin Clark at all times. But South Carolina's winning the women's tournament for sure.
All right, so how about on the men's side? Is there a team that you kind of like to win it all in March Madness?
I like Tennessee. And this is going against the whole, Rick Barnes doesn't perform in March thing. I think you throw that narrative out the window. This is a different type of Rick Barnes team. Usually we're used to Tennessee playing really slow, being great on the defensive end, and that being kind of their identity. And they are still really good on the defensive end, but they play offensively drastically different. They're getting up and down the floor. You have a player like Dalton Knecht, who you can say, go get us a bucket. You can give him the ball at the end of the game, and he can kind of just take over. We've seen him do it multiple times throughout the season. He's going to be in the NBA pretty soon. So I think Tennessee has all the pieces. Getting past UConn is going to be tough. Purdue's going to put up a good fight, but I think in the end, Tennessee has the best roster up and down to compete in a March Madness type tournament, where you're playing all sorts of different teams that you haven't seen before. But Tennessee, my favorite to win it at 12-1. Also getting a pretty good price there.
All right. I saw this line last night, and NC State was favored by 1.5. Syracuse absolutely owns us. And when I say us, I went to NC State. So I am talking about NC State. They are 5-0 in their last 5 games against NC State, going 5-0 against the spread in all 5 of those. So this line opened at Syracuse getting 1.5. We've seen a line flip. So clearly some other people are seeing what I am seeing in this line. Now Syracuse is 1.5 favorites. So do I want to trust NC State against a Syracuse team that has had our number? Absolutely not. Maybe NC State surprises me here, but I am used to being let down by NC State. Didn't cover last night. Where were they, laying 10 or something? 9.5? Yeah. Against, who is it, Louisville? Mm-hmm. One of the worst teams in the ACC. So count me in for Syracuse.
All right. I would have bet. I liked NC State yesterday. I saw a lot of people who liked NC State yesterday. And guess what? That bet would have lost by the hook. It's tough to handicap these games in college basketball, and I am learning that the hard way. But I see everyone on Florida State. I tend to like Georgia Tech here. I don't want to take them on the money line because it's minus 165, a little too rich for my blood. But neither of these teams, if you look at the trends, inspire a whole lot of confidence when it comes to covering the numbers. So if that's the case, and we're talking about a very close matchup, I'm going to roll with the team that plays better defense. That is Virginia Tech, and I'll fade the team that tends not to shoot the ball very well, especially from deep. Florida State will shoot the 3-point shot, but they don't hit a lot of those. So I will lean Hokies.
Jenks, do you or do you not like an under here? I feel like that's a Jenks play.
You are absolutely correct. I love the under
ding,
here.
Ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding, ding. You nailed it. Let me see where the money's going. Well, it's hard to tell, but it looks like it is headed towards the under. And it should. Look, when you look at these two teams, these are two under teams. The Heat, the best under team in the association, 40-24 to the under. Nuggets, 39-26 to the under. So you're talking about two teams which hit the under each around 60% of the time. I think this total has dropped a point in some places. It opened at 215 in the hook. Now we're sitting at 214.5. So, yep, you nailed it, Chelsea. I'm going under.
Yeah, I like the under for this one as well. As far as injuries go, Jimmy Butler is probable for this game. He's coming off an illness. I do think he plays. If, you're into drama, we know there's been some drama that's unfolded between Jimmy Butler and the Denver Nuggets, more specifically Nikola Jokic and his brothers. Remember that whole ordeal where the brothers came to Miami and they're like looking for Jimmy Butler? But I do think we're in for a good game here. I would take probably the points with Miami. Jenks, would you be buying into the Heats as home dogs here? Like the Nuggets, we know are a team that's really tough to beat at home, but the Heat have just been tough to beat against the number. In general, this has been a team that's been pretty solid as far as covering in like the larger sense. In this mini stretch, not so much, but still, are we interested in getting the points with Miami here?
No, I actually like Denver here, believe it or not. I think Denver is the better team, obviously, and I know 4.5 is a lot to lay on the road, but I think more than that is I don't trust the Heat and their injury situation. I believe Jimmy Butler is questionable tonight. Now, I think he probably does play, but at least this early in the morning, is he probable? Okay. Last time I checked, he was questionable, so maybe that gives me a little bit of pause, but I still like the Nuggets here.
I think I'm going to stick with the Heat here, especially since the last time I believe they covered, it was on the road. They were getting 6.5. And I don't think they even had Jimmy Butler for that game. So I think Jimmy Butler is going to play in this one. It says probable on ESPN. So I'm going to assume that he does. So I will go with the points in the Heat. But I think we both agree that maybe the under is the more solid play here. Let's go to Dallas. Mavericks hosting the Warriors. We've got Dallas laying 7.5, total of 235.5. Jenks, is there a trend that you like in this one?
Well. I'm not a huge fan of this game, but I think probably I would lean Mavs. That's a big number, even though the Warriors are still without Steph. But ultimately, maybe you look at I think the way to play this is the way you played it the other night, which I think you've been very smart with your NBA bets in that you look at, okay, who is missing from this lineup? And it's Steph. So how does that change the complexion of how the Warriors are going to play? And so maybe you look at a player prop. Ultimately, I think I would probably lean towards the Mavs here, but it's hard to handy. And it's clearly built into the number that Steph isn't going to play, but that seems like a lot of points as well. So I will probably lean Dallas, but I don't really like this game, honestly.
Yeah, the way I played the Warriors the other night was on Jonathan Kuminga. I kind of started with the vantage point of saying, okay, well, somebody's got to take over the scoring. It's probably going to be Jonathan Kuminga, but his points prop was too high. I didn't really like it. So I was like, okay, we'll look at the rebounds. So instead of a rebounder, he is going to be more focused on scoring. And what do you know? He went under his rebounding prop. I would have to look at the numbers. I have not checked the prop plays just yet, but that is one way I certainly need to look at it when a star player is out for one side or the other.